Hello, everybody. Hi, guys. Welcome. Didn't scare you. I hope not. Thanks for joining us, guys. It's Nikki here at the North Carolina Zoo. Hope you're having a great day. So before we get started, the rules, blah, the boring stuff. First of all, you guys are muted. So that way there's not a lot of noise and stuff going on that doesn't distract me because I'm easily distractible. But that does not mean I don't want you to interact with us. I want that. That makes the program for me. It makes it a great program. So if I'm going to be asking you guys lots of questions, so I hope you got your thinking caps on, your brains activated. So if you have an answer to my question, put those answers in the chat box. But I want you guys to ask us questions too, because it's not just me. I've got two people helping me behind the scenes here on site, and then people at home helping me out to answer lots of questions too. So if you have questions for us, put those in the question and answer box, the Q&A boxes. And our team of smart people will be able to answer, because I don't know everything. So I need all the help I can get, guys. So that's gonna help us. So easy enough, let's get started for our Reptacular adventures, all right? So we're gonna be learning about reptiles today. So let me find out how smart you guys are, what you know about reptiles. What is a reptile? What are some different characters of a reptile? What makes a reptile a reptile? So in that chat box, write down what you think, and Sabrina's gonna tell me.
Joe says scales.
Scales, perfect, yep.
Angela says smack. Paula says scales and two. Abigail.
Scales, yep. Scale.
Vanessa says cold-blooded.
Ooh, cold-blooded, yep.
Yeah, we got, yep, a lot of cold-blooded.
Okay.
They lay eggs.
Oop, yeah, some of them lay eggs, yeah. That's it, good, perfect, those are great, absolutely. And I lost my prop already, sorry. There it is. Let me ask you this. Are reptiles vertebrates or invertebrates? And by vertebrates, I mean they have this thing running down their back, a spine. So do reptiles have spines? Yes or no? What do you think? What do you guys think? Do reptiles have spines?
We have Charles says yes.
Okay.
A couple people say no.
All right. There's no wrong or right answers, guys. We're all learning here. I'm learning stuff, so I learned a few things today researching this program. So yeah, so I'm not looking for right or wrong, but let's see. Let's look at this. You guys see. How's that look, Denise? You're going to tell me because I don't have my computer. I can see things.
That looks good.
All right. So now let me ask that question. Do reptiles have skeletons or spines?
Yeah.
Yes, there we go. Absolutely. See, we all learned something today. Absolutely, they have vertebrates. It's because they have a backbone. So they have a spine. Excellent. Let's see. So then they have covered in scales. Another one. We said cold-blooded. The fancy science word for that, the fancy science word, if I can spit it out, is ectotherm, but cold-blooded works for me. And that means, what does that mean? Does that mean they're cold all the time? They're just always cold, no matter what? Let me know what that means to be cold-blooded.
A couple people say no. A few people say no.
Right? No?
Yeah.
Let me know what it means to be cold-blooded. No, are we cold-blooded? You guys think? Are you guys cold-blooded? Or are you warm-blooded?
Lisa says no.
Right?
No.
Right, I hope not.
Vanessa says the temperature of the body depends on the air around them.
Beautiful, nice job, Vanessa, right. So it depends on the air around them. So we're warm-blooded, which means our endotherms, or inside our body, is the same temperature. So 98.6 degrees. And we have to eat lots of food to keep our energy up, to maintain that, the metabolism to keep that, that temperature up. Whereas reptiles, they don't have to worry about that. So if they want to get warm, they go sit in the sun. They want to cool off, they go in the shade. So it's the temperature around them that dictates their body temperature. So yes, perfect, nice job. So they don't have to waste as much energy and eat as much as we do in order to stay warm or cooler. So it's perfect. So yes, so we got scales, cold-blooded, they're vertebrates. What am I missing? Somebody else said something. Did they say something else? Remember?
About eggs, right?
Oh,
Yep,
some eggs, yep. Some legs, most lay eggs, some of them actually give live birth. So there's a little bit. There's always those exceptions. They never want to fit in our little cubbies that we try to put them in.
So speaking of scales,
Yeah.
Zahara has a question about, do the scales have bones, or what do the scales have in them?
Right. Well, that's a good question. So some scales have bones underneath. And then they are, if you guys joined us last week, we learned a little bit about alligators. And under their scales, they have these cool bones called osteoderms. So bone skin, but they still have a scale that goes over it. And scales are kind of the same thing, made out of a keratin, which is kind of like the same stuff as your nails and your hair. Yep. So it's a really good way of doing what? What do the scales help them do? What are they for? How they help these reptiles? You guys think? What do scales do for reptiles?
Protection, says Charles.
Right, protection. Nice layer, just like your skin helps protect you, keep moisture in so you don't dry out. So that's what their scales do for them. So a lot like our skin, they're just a little bit rougher sometimes. One last thing is kind of their life cycle. So a lot of people get amphibians and reptiles kind of confused. Some people just kind of lump them and they call them herpetology, which is the study of reptiles and amphibians. But they are different because amphibians do not have what? They do not have those things covering their body. So amphibians are missing, are not covered in what?
Anna says skin, or a lot of people say skin.
Yeah, I confused you with showing this thing, but this is all scales, right? So a snake skin is made out of scales, right? So amphibians don't have scales, so they're smooth. Another thing, amphibians go through kind of 4 stages of life, or 4 like in their life cycle, whereas reptiles only have 3, or 2 or 3. They do not. Good Lord, brain is not functioning. Sorry. So they don't have that larval stage, the tadpole stage, like an amphibian. So they go from an egg to a small adult to just a bigger adult, kind of thing like that. So those are the differences. That's what makes a reptile a reptile. Now let me ask you guys, there are 5, count them 5, types or categories of reptiles. Did you guys name them? One might trip you up. I'll be very surprised if somebody gets the one, but the other 4 are pretty easy. You guys should get them. So what are some different types of reptiles? And by I mean big categories, I'm thinking, large things, not individual.
Lisa says snake.
Snakes, yep, got one.
Sahara says alligator.
Alligators.
Abigail says turtles.
Turtles.
Katie says lizard.
Lizards, right? We got 4. There's one more. Is it crickets? So I hear crickets. It's a tough one.
Crocodile, snakes, turtles,
Yep.
geckos.
Yeah, that's what everybody gets. This poor 5th one always gets forgotten about because there's very few of them and they're kind of an ancient species. They're really, really kind of cool though. And they're only found in New Zealand. The only place you can find is this guy. He's pretty cute. He's called a tuatara. A tuatara. And he looks just like a lizard, but he's not. He's definitely different. He's got some different characteristics. Like I said, they kind of consider him like a living fossil because their ancestors, their most recent ancestors lived with the dinosaurs. So they haven't changed a lot. And like I said, they're only found in New Zealand. And they're different from lizards in the fact, put stuff down, their skull's pretty cool. They're kind of what we call primitive, very primitive. So this is the skull of a tuatara. And their teeth, I don't know if you guys can see that. How's that look, Denise?
I think it's as close as you can get it.
Yeah. Is it focusing? It's kind of hard to see it.
Yeah.
That good? Okay. So they actually have 2 sets of teeth. They have one here and then one kind of on the inside there. And then their bottom set kind of fits in between them. And their teeth, once they wear down or break off, that's it. Because their teeth aren't really like true teeth. They're actually just kind of like ridges in this skull, in their jaw, in their jawbone. So whereas other reptiles, their teeth kind of fall out, and ours, they come out and they can get a new one in. So a little bit different. It's really kind of cool. The top of their head, you see that little hole right there? You guys can see that? That's actually a third eye. A really, really primitive eye. It's not really used for seeing. It's more for kind of light detection. And here's the picture of it on top, so you can kind of see it's very, very, is it in there? It's hard to see. Let me know.
Yeah.
Is it good? Okay. So where that little green box is that third eye, or pineal eye it's called. And it's used for kind of detecting light and around, so they know what season it is, what time of day it is, that kind of thing. So it helps them detect. So it's super, super primitive animals. They've been around for a long time. They can live, which is really kind of cool, up to 100 years old. So they can grow old. What really blew me, this is something I learned today too, was researching and reading about them. Their eggs hatch. It takes almost a year of incubation before the eggs hatch, which is kind of cool, which is kind of neat. So if the temperature gets too cold, the growing process will stop. And then once it gets warm again, it'll start up again. So that's why it takes so long for them to hatch out, which is really kind of neat. So very interesting animal. And they're their own group because there's nothing like them, nothing else like them out there. So very interesting about them. So read about the tuatara, learn more about them.
Before
that's
you move on, what do they like to eat?
They are what we call carnivores, so they're meat eaters. So they like to eat small insects and bugs and occasionally a small lizard, which brings up another fact. So the adults are more active at night. The young ones are more active during the day because that way they can avoid the adults who will eat the babies. so I don't know. That's a tuatara life.
Babies are very cute.
They are very cute. I keep asking our supervisors for a education ambassador tuatara, but I don't think it'll ever happen because there's not very many of them left. They are considered endangered. So yeah. So unfortunately. So all right. So the tuatara is a group. So our next group, this one should be easy to tell what makes it different from all the other ones. What do you think? What group of animals are we going to talk about next?
Joe says turtle.
Right, nice. There's different kinds of turtles, right? So you have turtles like this guy who lives in fresh water. You have turtles that live on land. And you kind of see a little bit of a difference in the shape of their shell. Can you see both of those, Denise? I need to, that's good. So you can kind of see the shape of the shell. Word. And then you have turtles that live in the sea. Right? So we have sea turtles, we got water turtles, and we got land turtles, and really, really big land turtles too. You want to bring them over? Sure. If you guys didn't see it last week, Sabrina's gonna help me roll out a huge, I better get out of the way. Here we go. It's that big. And we need a cart, a wagon to move this thing. It's so big. You ready for this? Here we go. If you guys didn't see it last time, there it is again. Nice. Isn't that huge? So this is a Galapagos tortoise shell. So they can get pretty big, right? So we got small turtles, like this guy. And you get some pretty big ones. So this was a land turtle, but the largest turtle in the world is actually a sea turtle. I think it's a leatherback, did we learn? Mm-hmm. The leatherback sea turtle. It gets even bigger than the Galapagos, which is hard to believe. All right, thank you, Sabrina. Isn't that cool? That's pretty amazing. So the shell is what makes a turtle a turtle. And what does a shell do for them? She was busy. Sabrina's busy for it then. Get back to her too.
Joe says to protect.
Right, absolutely, to protect them. Actually, can you do me a favor, Sabrina? Can you go in that closet there? And there is an alligator snapping turtle shell. I want to show them how good they are at protecting them. That brown cabinet right behind me. Sorry, that's the beauty of doing these programs and where we keep a lot of our biofacts and stuff, so you can easily grab them, even the big ones. So one of our animal friends that live here, the alligator snapping turtle. Let me find them. There they are. So if you might see, there's holes right here. So at one point, this guy was living in with our alligators. And I don't know if he made him angry or what, but the alligator bit him. And so those holes are actually from an alligator bite. But if you look on the inside, did they go through? Can you guys see it? No, it did not. So it did its job and protected him. He ended up we took him out of the alligator habitat and moved him in his own habitat. And he lived a long life until he passed away of old age, which is pretty cool. So pretty effective way of protecting themselves, absolutely. Then let's see our first friend. I'll ask you, do they have scales? So they're a reptile. Do they look like they have scales? Sorry, guys. Anybody? This says Franklin.
Charles says yes, but no.
Yes, but no. Well, they are reptiles, so they do have scales. So they have a fun word. So these little things right here, these are scales, but they're called scutes on a turtle. So their scales are called scutes. So these are called scutes right here. Those, but they are scales, absolutely. And they're just like an outer covering over there. Does anybody know what the shell is made out of? What is the shell made out of? What do you guys think? So we know the scales are made out of the keratin.
Charles says keratin with a question mark.
Yeah, well, that's what the scales are, so the outer covering. But on the inside, let's look, what does that look like? So under that scutes, the scale, so this piece right here is missing a scute. Nice, bone, absolutely. So this is bone, right? As a matter of fact, it's their what bone? What's that running down the middle? What do you guys call that?
Katie and Charles both say spine.
Right, spine or backbone, absolutely.
Katie
Right.
and Charles are on it today.
Nice, and ribs too. So yeah, so it's made out of bone. To really protect them. Nice thick layer of bone.
What kind of turtle is Franklin?
Ah, good question. This is our state turtle. Does anybody know what our state turtle is? And he's pretty common around here. A lot of you probably have seen one of these if you live in North Carolina, if you're from North Carolina.
Vanessa says box turtle.
Nice, absolutely, box turtle. So Franklin here is obviously not shy. He's not afraid of you. Now, if you found a box turtle in the wild, this is probably what you would see, right? You probably wouldn't see the head or the legs, or as soon as you approached it, they would pull his legs and heads and tail and everything inside and close up just like a box, because that's this really cool hinge right here, which allows them to close up really, really tight to protect themselves. Other turtles can't do that. So a lot of them have like kind of, and he's got them too. So they have on their front legs, these kind of really big bumps or scales on his front legs to kind of add a protection, like an armor to protect him. It looks like he's swimming, but he is not a water turtle. He is definitely a land turtle. So if you find a box turtle, please don't put him in water. You can put them near water. They like to drink water, absolutely. But if you just dunk them in the middle of the pond, not good. He's not built for swimming. He is built for walking and digging and a little bit of climbing too, even though it looks like he's a swimmer. The way when I hold him up, he looks like that. So yeah, so keep him safe and not put him in the water. Just keep him on land. How many of you guys have ever seen one? Let me see how many of you guys.
A couple of people say that they have them on their yard.
Yeah, absolutely.
On the road.
That's usually when I see them, is after it's rained, I'll see them sitting in the middle of the road. And unfortunately, yes, this is tough, and it can, that one can survive an alligator bite. But do you think this can survive a car? What do you guys think?
Lisa says no.
No, you're right. Absolutely. So if you want to help a box turtle, and it's safe, all right, you can get out of your car safely. Make sure it's adult with you, and do not get hit by a car, please. I don't want that. And you can safely move them across the road, but there is a key to that. So let's say Franklin is crossing the road and you find him sitting in the middle of the road and he's facing that direction. Do you pick him up and put him back over that way? Or do you put him in the direction he was facing? He's like, there's a wall there. Nice, the way he is facing, right. So if there's something over on that side, the way he's facing, there's something over he wants. whether it be food, his, you know, a nest, his boyfriend or girlfriend, whatever's over there. So there's something over there he wants. So it's best just because if you put him back over here, he's just going to turn around and go back across the road. So put him on the side of the road that he's facing. So that is definitely a good rule of thumb. And again, make sure it's safe to do that. All right, anything about box turtles you want to know? They're pretty cool. Does anybody know? So I call him Mr. Franklin because I know he's a boy. Two ways I can tell. With box turtles, if you look at their eyes, can you show them your beautiful eyes? So Franklin's got red eyes, and the boys tend to have red eyes, whereas the girls tend to have more brown. But I've seen boy box turtles with brown eyes and girls with orangish eyes, so not 100%. So what I look for is at the bottom of their shell. The bottom of their shell is this little bit of an indent right here. I don't know if you guys can see that. So there's a little bit of an indent right there. And that tells me that's a boy. So the girls would have a completely flat bottom of their shell. The boys have this little bit of an indentation on the bottom. So Franklin is definitely a boy based on that.
Okay, so there are a couple of questions.
Perfect.
One asks, does he have teeth?
Oh, good question. I'll ask you guys. What do you guys think? Do turtles have teeth? Give him a smile. Smile, Franklin.
He's like, I am.
He's like, too close, too close. Right? Nice, nice job, right? See, I don't need to teach this. You guys know everything. Right, so they do not have teeth. They have a beak, just like kind of birds do, right? So they don't have teeth. They have a beak to chew their food, bite their food.
All right, what do they eat with that beak?
Well, box turtles are what we call omnivores. So that means they eat what? Let's see how smart you guys are. You guys are pretty smart. I know there's someone out there that knows what an omnivore eats. Does that mean they eat meat, plants, or both? What do you think?
A lot of people say both.
Right, absolutely, just like us. So Franklin here some days he gets salad, a nice yummy salad. Other days he gets earthworms or crickets. So they like to eat all kinds of different foods. When he's younger, when he was a young baby turtle, he mostly ate bugs and worms. But as he got older, he started introducing vegetables into his diet. And so, yeah, he became more omnivore there. Which is pretty cool. Any other questions about Mr. Franklin before I put him away? Actually, I'll put him away and I can keep answering questions if you have any more. Thank you,
I was
Franklin.
showing my good side.
I know. He's so cute. He's pretty awesome. And Franklin's about 20 years old, we guess. It's a guesstimate with them. We don't know for sure. All right, so we got Tuatara, turtles. Anybody guess what my next group is going to be? Well, actually, let me ask you guys this really quick. Okay. Get a good picture of it. All right, snake or lizard? What do you guys think? Is this a snake or is it a lizard?
We seem to be getting mixed responses. Some people think snake, some people think lizard.
Yep, absolutely. Sounds about right. This, you know, it looks like a snake. It's actually a lizard. And you know how I can tell? If you look, I don't know if you guys can see, how's that? Can they see the head?
Yeah.
Okay, so right there, my finger's pointing, my hands are really shaky today. You can see a little bit of a hole. That is their ear. Snakes do not have that. And this guy can actually wink at you because he has eyelids, which snakes do not. So snakes do not have ears, external ears, and they do not have eyelids. Lizards do. So that's why I can tell this legless lizard is actually a lizard and not a snake, which is kind of cool. So that's how, so snakes and lizards kind of are very, very similar. We're most closely related to each other, which is kind of cool. So that what makes a lizard, different from a snake. And there's so many cool lizards out there. And something I just learned today, researching and looking stuff up. So many years I would tell people, these two, I can get them up, are the only venomous lizards in the world. not true anymore. The science have showed that they may name another venomous lizard. So I have a Gila monster here, and this one's a Mexican beaded lizard. It's venomous. Anybody think of another venomous lizard?
Charles says Komodo dragon.
Nice. Yep. They've discovered it's not just the bacteria, but they actually have venom in their mouth. And I just learned this. So those cute little bearded dragons, a lot of people have as pets, have a little bit of venom in them. And there's other monitor lizards too that they're discovering have venom. And they think that that's why they think snakes and lizards are closely related. So there's some lizards out there that still have a little bit of the ancestral venom snacks. Not snacks. So pretty cool stuff. Yeah, you're never too old to learn. Take it from an old dog here. But your venomous lizards, they're not like snakes. They don't have fangs. They have very sharp teeth, and then they just literally just kind of drip. The venom just kind of drips down. There's these little kind of like tunnels, like channels in their teeth, and kind of drips down. So when they bite, they kind of have to chew. So they bite, and they have a very strong bite. And then they kind of have to chew a little bit to get that venom in there. And none of these lizards are going to kill humans. So their toxin or their venom is not that toxic to us. It's mostly just for killing small rodents or mice and stuff like that. So not really toxic to us. Painful, yes. They're not going to kill you. So you're kind of safer around them. One of my favorite lizards. I love this guy. He's pretty cool. Somebody know the name of the animal or the lizard that can run on water? Has anybody ever watched Harry Potter?
Joe said basilisk.
Nice, there you go. Right, so they can run on water. Run right across the water, which is pretty cool. So there's a lot of cool lizards out there. I think there's, let me check my numbers list because my old brain doesn't remember numbers like it used to, so I'm gonna cheat and look. There are over 4,500 different species of lizards. There's some pretty cool ones out there.
So can lizards harm you?
No, not really. I mean, yeah, it'll hurt, and you might get infected if you don't go to the hospital and treat that. If you get bit by these venomous lizards, you don't go to the hospital and get it treated, it could potentially harm you, right? So that's usually where most venomous snake bites and that kind of stuff happen, is why people ended up passing away, because they're not near hospitals and they can't get treated properly, and so they can pass away from it. So, but if you get yourself to a hospital, get yourself fixed up, you should be fine. I'm not only it's gonna hurt though. I'm not gonna say, oh, it's gonna be a dream and something everybody wants to do.
This is a good question. How does the basilisk run on water?
So glad you asked that. It's the way their feet are made. They have really big webbed feet, and it's just how they hit the water and they kind of push the water forward. Kind of like when you're pushing water, like you're swimming, you push water forward, and it pushes them forward, and they're so fast, they have to go really fast. If they go slow, they'll sink. So they just go really, really fast across the water. It's just the way their feet are made and how they're moving their legs to be able to stay on top of the water. So pretty cool, huh? All right. Moving on to our next one. What do you guys think we're going to talk about? Everybody's favorite. Right? Does anybody know what the world's largest snake was called? Not in existence anymore. Does anybody know? Has anybody heard of this beast?
Philip says kill the snake.
Well, that's a good guess. Well, king for a reason. But this snake's thankfully not around, because he would be as big around as this hula hoop, which means I would be a snack. Or a snack.
Catherine and Lisa say it's Titanoboa.
Nice job, right? A Titanoboa was an ancient snake, and they guessed it's about this wide and about 42 feet long. Oh, thank God, not around today. Yeah, so pretty big snake, not around anymore. But our largest, we still have some pretty big snakes. We have the reticulated python. They can get up to, let's see, if I can do it in this, I don't even think this, nope, doesn't even go that long. So this tape measure only goes out to 21 feet. Thank you, Denise. There we go. Keep going. Come on again. All right. I would have to add on another 11 feet to this. 32 feet long. It's a reticulated python. That was the longest recorded snake. Recorded. There may be longer ones out there, but that's the only one that's been truly recorded and documented. Smallest snake? The thread snake. He's about, oh well, 4 inches. He's a little guy. So they come in all sizes and colors, all kinds of different neat colors. Some venomous, some not venomous. Absolutely. Let's see. A lot of people get these guys confused. Let's see. I'm going to call this guy number 1. Okay. Calling him number 2. Put in the chat which one you think is venomous. Number 1 or number 2? Number 1, number 2. 2, 1, 2.
A lot of people are saying
1,
2.
2, 1, 2. Are the 2s? You're right. So this is a copperhead. He is venomous. This is a brown water snake. Not venomous. Not dangerous at all unless you're a frog. Right? So no. And they look, so a lot of people go by that, oh, they're venomous if they have these triangular shaped heads and da. His head is kind of triangular shaped, but he's not venomous. So we try to put these animals, like I said, in those rules that we try to make for them. They just, no, I don't know nothing to do with that. So basically learn the different types of snakes in your area. This book is amazing. So if you live in North Carolina, we sell them in our gift shop, but I'm sure if you go online, you can find it. And it's got all the different snakes in North Carolina. It's broken up into small non-venomous, large non-venomous. And then it shows you our 6 different venomous snakes that we have in North Carolina. So it's good to learn what they look like and ID them that way. So that way, if you ever encounter them, you'll know what they look like. All right,
That's
so
also
pretty cool.
digitized online as
Yep.
well.
Yep, absolutely. So it's the Davison College puts it out. So trying to think, sorry, I'm looking at the North Carolina Herpetological Society. You Google all that information. Really good resource. You'll learn about snakes. So we learned the difference between snakes and lizards. They have what? What do lizards have that snakes do not? Let's see how many of you guys are paying attention.
Chastity says ears.
Right, they have ears.
They have eyelids.
And eyelids, right. Absolutely. So don't ever get into a staring contest with a snake. Because you won't win. Because your eyes will dry out by the time it's said and done. All right.
If you can hold it.
Yeah, exactly. All right. This is easier if I do it down here. I don't know if you guys can see this. So I have our friend in pillowcase. So that just kind of keeps them contained. So they can't because these guys are really good climbers. And so if I just stuck him in his little travel home, the cooler, without putting him in here, he could potentially push that lid off. And next thing you know, you would have a snake running around in your car. And that would not be good. And just like, have you guys ever put like a sheet over your head or, oops, sorry, but under your covers? It scared us both. Sorry. Let me do that. Push this other way so I don't trip on myself. I do believe this is Slinky. Oh, he's come. He likes to come say hi. Here you go. They're so curious about that.
Oh.
Hi, buddy. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's warm over there, but it's so funny. Our rat snakes immediately go for that lens. No, they're not shy, apparently. They like to be on camera. So this is Slinky. Does anybody know what kind of snake he is? Let me ask you this. Do you think he's venomous or non-venomous? Give you a hint. I'm not as stupid as I look. Okay, keep that in mind.
They're saying non-venomous.
Right, he is non-venomous. So what kind of snake is he? Common around here in North Carolina. If you live in North Carolina or on the East Coast, you probably have seen him. But you know, buddy.
Michelle says that he is a rat snake.
Nice. He is. He is an eastern rat snake. It's pretty cool. He's very curious about the camera. It's pretty cool. So, right, super common around here, and probably one of the most common ones we find here in North Carolina. And they're pretty awesome. Like I said, they're very good climbers, excellent tree climbers. I saw one climb up the side of a house. That's how good they are at climbing. And so he's definitely a reptile because he's covered in what? What's all that on his outside of his body? You guys see?
Phillips's scale.
Right. And snakes kind of have two different kind of scales. They have the scales on the top that you see, and then they have kind of specialized scales on their belly. Let's see if I can get a good, oh, I'm sorry, Slinky. You bopped your nose. I'm sorry, buddy. If you look on the bottom, they have kind of these big flat scales on the bottom that helps them. They're like little tiny fingers that help them kind of grip and hold on to things. So pretty amazing animals. And you saw that skeleton earlier, right? That is a snake skeleton. So they are full of bones. So they're all one big long spine and a bunch of ribs. So we only have like 33 vertebrae in our back. Now they can get up to 500. So depending on how long the snakes get or how big the snake is. And he's one of our largest snakes we have in North Carolina. They can get up to about between 7 and 8 feet long. That's about it. Not huge. That's, like I said, that's the longest. We don't get big snakes here. Right. So cute.
Does he eat?
Oh, well, what do you guys think? He is an eastern rat snake. So what do you guys think he likes to eat?
Lots of rats.
There you go. So rats, small mammals, lizards, frogs, eggs, whatever. They're not terribly picky, but they do eat a lot of rats and rodents, which is why they're do way more good than harm. A lot of people see these snakes and they want to kill them. They're scared of them. They think they're going to hurt them, but they're not venomous. They're eating those rats and mice. And some of them actually will keep copperheads and venomous snakes out of your yard. And you know, they're very territorial. And so pretty good to have around. So if you see a rat snake, just leave it alone. Or any snake for that matter. Doesn't really matter. Just leave them alone. Best thing you can do for them. They're not out there to hurt you. They're actually more scared of you, believe it or not, of you and them, because you're huge compared to them. They know you're not food, and then you're a big giant compared to them. And so they're really scared of you. And so they're either going to run away, get away from you as fast as they can, or if they can't get away, they're going to make a lot of noise and warn you off and try to scare you off. They're going to shake their tail in the leaves to sound like a rattle. They're going to hiss, and they're trying to scare you off. And the last resort is to bite you. It's usually the last resort, and that's usually you stepping on them or trying to pick them up or something like that. And that's usually when most snake bites happen. Do you have any other questions, Ms. Denise?
There's a couple of other ones.
Okay.
Does he shed his skin?
He does, right. So the only reptile that does not is going to be our last group we'll talk about in just a second. He does his in a full piece, whereas your lizards and your turtles, theirs come off in little pieces. Theirs come off in one whole piece. And I showed that to you earlier. Did you guys see that when I was showing you the skin? Sorry, my hands are a little bit tied right now, so I can't really pick up any of the biofacts. So yeah, so they will shed in one whole piece, whereas lizards and turtles, little pieces at a time. Good questions. Any other questions?
So the next one is, do venomous snakes always have Hershey kiss marks?
No, that's just a copperhead coloration. That's why it's important to look up the different colorations and patterns of the different venomous snakes. So learn them. So copperheads have that Hershey kiss. Coral snakes, they have that red next to yellow, kill a fellow coloration, right? So they have different colorations and patterns. So you gotta learn the different types. And it's always good to know. But yeah, so no, not all venomous snakes have a Hershey's kiss, just copperheads. So yeah. Any other questions we got?
No.
All right, I'm gonna put Slinky back. Hey, buddy. You did pretty good.
Probably like, I just got comfortable.
I know. I had him out like what, a couple weeks ago, and he got so comfortable. He was sleeping when I went to put him back in the bag. We both startled each other. He was like, "Oh, he's kind of awake." I didn't realize he was sleeping. But you can't tell because they can't do what, right? Remember, what cannot snakes not do? So you can't tell if a snake is sleeping. Excuse me.
Yes, let's close their eyes.
Right. So I think that's probably one of the reasons why people find snakes a little bit uncomfortable, because their eyes are always open, and it's a little bit creepy to have someone staring at you all the time, even when they're sleeping, right? Yeah, that would be a little bit creepy. So, excuse me, get some water. Love talking. All right, so we've done Turtera. We got turtles. We got lizards. We got snakes. What's our last group? You guys think? Who are we missing?
Philip says alligators.
Nice. Or crocodilians, right? Crocodilians is a fancy word for them. So they're not just crocodiles. There's different types. There's alligators, there's crocodiles, there's caimans, there's gharials. There's different kinds of them, right? There's like 23 different species of crocodilians, we call them. And so they're pretty cool. I put them last because, believe it or not, they're a reptile, still a reptile, but they think they're more closely related to birds. And I'm a bird nerd, so that makes me happy. So yeah, and they haven't, like that tuatara, they haven't changed much for millions of years. So they have just found the perfect niche, body shape, what works for them, and it works, and it helps them to survive. And so they haven't had to change very much in many years. So pretty cool. And what makes them different is they have 4-chambered heart. So 4 like us. So we have 4 chambers in our heart. Everybody else has 3. It's a little bit different. And they found that alligators or crocodilians are actually, their brains are a little bit different, and they tend to be a little bit smarter. So we train our alligators here. So we work with our alligators and we train them. We're able to train them to come to different spots. So we can feed them. We can get them up on a scale to weigh them. We can maneuver them so that we can safely, if we have to inject like an antibiotic or something in them, and do procedures on them without having to have them go to sleep, have the vets come and do it. So pretty cool stuff that we can do because they're kind of smart, which is really neat, something probably don't even think about. And I know this is a question I get all the time. Who wants to learn what's the difference between, well, let me see if you guys know. What is the difference between an alligator and a crocodile?
Philip is on the ball. He says that an alligator has a more U-shaped head and a crocodile has a more V-shaped head.
Nice. All right. I'm going to do that 1 and 2 again. So, number 1, number 2. Let's look at those noses. All right. Number 1 or 2. Which one do you think is the alligator? Number 1 or number 2? The alligator.
Lisa says number 1 is croc and number 2 is alligator.
Nice, Lisa. You're on it. Absolutely. So this is a dwarf crocodile. So he's definitely got a more V-shaped, whereas this is an American alligator and has that more U-shaped. That's one to tell the difference from far away. But if you're brave enough, you want to get closer, you look at this tooth right here. This 4th tooth in an alligator, it's actually tucked up and hidden. Whereas in a crocodile, their teeth are just all over the place. They have a very toothy smile. They're kind of sticking out all over the place. I think I broke one of his teeth. I was being handling this border. That one's a real skull. So this tooth fits perfectly up into his upper jaw. This tooth right here, you can't see it. And in a crocodile, it would be sticking up out over his top jaw. So, but you'd have to get pretty close. All right. Ready for our last friend? Hopefully he's ready for us. Let's see. They're getting bigger. It's getting a little squirmier as they get older. Let's see how he does. What do we have today? Oh, we do have Bayou. Bayou? There we go. He's ready to come out. Here we go. Let's see. Give him a second to kind of chill out and realize that I'm not going to hurt him. that he's safe. Oh, he's so much better than safe. Well, I spoke too soon. That's all right, buddy. Just trying to get him a nice, comfortable spot where he feels supported. I got you, man. I got your back, buddy. Feel comfortable. There we go. And relax. And then we'll come up. Hopefully this camera doesn't scare him a little bit. There's a big old microphone that sits out over the camera. And a lot of the animals are like, what is that? But this is Bayou.
Look, says he's so cute.
He is pretty stinking cute. And he is an American alligator. He's a very young one. Well, actually, he's very small for his age. Well, he's smaller for his age, I should say. So we got him, we get them, what, a year and a half or so ago? And they were tiny. And they were literally probably almost as long. Oh, you're okay, buddy. Almost as a little shorter than his tail is now. So they were like much, much smaller than this. Very tiny, probably not even a foot long. And they were about a year old at that time. Oh, he's not happy. There we go. Chill out, buddy. Did you guys hear that? He's hissing a little bit. So he's a little bit stressed out. Let's see if he settles a little bit. If he doesn't, I'll have to put him back because I don't want to stress him out. I want this to be a good thing for him too. There we go. He's kind of settling in. So, forgot what I was saying. Oh, his size, right? So, yeah, so when they came, they're about a foot long and they're about a year old. So in an alligator in the wild, that's tiny. That's about when they hatch. They can hatch out anywhere from like 8 to 12 inches long in there. And then they grow really, really, really fast. And so within a year, they're probably doubled their size almost. And so they were so small for their age. And the people that had them, we think, they just didn't have them in a proper place so they couldn't grow, or they weren't in the proper diet or something. We're not 100% sure. And so they just didn't grow as much. And since we've gotten them, I swear every time I see them, they get bigger. They've just doubled, tripled in size, at least quadrupled probably, which means as they get bigger, we're not gonna be able to handle them. He's gonna get too big for us to handle. So we're probably gonna send them out possibly in the fall. We've already got a retirement home picked out for them. Well, they'll get to go to Florida, and there's a place there that they'll get to live out the rest of their lives and grow as big as they want, and not have to worry about that people won't handle them. But they will be trained. They'll probably work with them and train them to feed them and all that stuff, just like our alligators. So they'll have a pretty cool life. So, which is why we said we would take them on. We made sure we had a place to put them, because after a while, they're going to get too big for us to be able to handle and to be ambassadors. So we were thinking about that before we said, yes, we'll take them on. But he's pretty awesome and smart. He's got the alligator brain. So of all the reptiles, you're the smartest, Bayou. Did you know that? He's like, yes, I did. Do you guys have any questions about our alligator?
How long will he potentially get?
Well, they can get up to about 10 to 12 feet long for the males, a little bit smaller for the girls. So not quite as big. So it just depends. And I'm not 100% sure if this is a boy or a girl. Maybe our team of smart people know. That Steve and Beth. I've heard one thing and then I've heard other things. And so with reptiles, it's hard to tell.
Steve says it's a male and Beth says it's a girl.
All right. That answers that.
Can you tell if it's a boy or girl?
Oh,
Well,
Steve mistyped. Okay.
Oh, okay. So the girls? Okay. All right. I always thought they were boys for some reason. All right. Well, sorry, Bayou. You're a beautiful girl. I'm so sorry.
Is that why you've been mad at us all this
That
time?
could be why.
That's-
Calling you boys.
That's checked.
Okay. All right. So yeah. So it's very invasive. It's internal. So their organs are inside. So in order to do that, they have to look inside, and it's not always a pleasant thing. And if they lay eggs, you got a girl. And then said the boys get bigger than the girls. So, but at this age, we can't tell if it's a boy or girl. But speaking of boy and girl alligator, what's really cool is mom alligator will build a nest. She builds this big, huge mound of plants and dirt and mud. and she then buries her eggs in the middle of it. And then she covers them back up, and then it's all those plants, as they break down and decay, it gives off heat, and that heats and incubates the eggs. And the temperature in the middle, or temperature where the eggs are, determines if it's a boy or a girl. So with alligators, I always get this confused. It is hot dudes, cool chicks.
Yes.
So the lower temperatures, you'll get girls. I think it's 86 and lower. 93 and above, you'll get boys. And in between, you'll get a mix of both. So yeah, so hot dudes, cool chicks. That's how I try to remember it, but I always get them reversed. And other reptiles do the same thing, but they're just kind of reversed, actually. Their temperatures are reversed. All right, so I'm going to put him back because he's getting a little bit.
He's like, okay,
Yeah, see, he's done. He'll let me know he's done. Easy, buddy. Don't hurt yourself.
So do the females, can they carry the babies from one place to another in their mouth?
Very good question. Yes, they will. So mom alligators are actually really good moms. So they will protect the nest. With most reptiles, they will lay the eggs and they leave. Whereas mom alligators will actually sit by the nest and defend it and protect it. And other animals have learned to lay their eggs kind of in that nest area just so the alligator can defend it. And so she will hang out by there, and when she starts hearing those babies call, and they make a cute little noise, it sounds like a puppy, like a noise. They do it way better than I do. And that lets her know that they're ready to come out, and she kind of digs out, and she'll try to help them out of the nest. And then even if they're having trouble getting out of their egg, she will gently roll it around in her mouth and help it out. And then she can carry them in her mouth very gently or on her back down to the water where it's safer. And then they'll stay with her and she'll protect them for up to a couple of years. But when she's ready to have more babies, so let's say she's had 20 or 30 babies from the other year, and she wants to have 20 or 30 more, do you think she wants the older ones to stick around? What do you guys think? Does she really want to take care of 60 kids?
Lisa says no.
No, right. She's like, all right. She's like, you're old enough, go to college, go to school, get your own house, get a job, whatever. Just get out, leave. And if they don't, you know what mom will do? She's a great mom to a point.
Katie says she'll eat them.
Right. She'll eat one or two. And the others will see that and be like, oh my God, I'm out. They will leave. And so they will head out and go find their own territories and their own homes. So yeah, so she's a fantastic mom to a point. And not so much. So we're very lucky our moms don't do that to us. All right. All right. So let's see. You guys remember the 5 different types of reptiles? What are the 5? Can you list them for me? I need some water. Thirsty.
Philip says tuatara,
Mm-hmm.
snake, alligator. Angela says turtle.
Nice one.
And Philip says lizard.
Nice. Nice job, guys. Nice job. Cheers for listening. Thank you. All right. Do we have any last questions or anything about anything you want to learn about lizards? Or not lizards, reptiles or lizards? Any questions?
There was one, I don't know if it was answered, but can alligators see heat? Or can any of these reptiles see heat? Maybe that's a good question.
That's a good question. Some snakes can actually sense heat, right? There are some that can actually see heat kind of in their jaw, that they can sense kind of heat. They have heat pits heat pits in their jaw. It allows them to sense where a warm-blooded animal is, or a warmer animal is. So yeah, I don't think there are lizards that can do that, and I'm pretty sure alligators can't. They're more, their sense is their jaw. It's very sensitive. It has all these very little cells and stuff, so they feel vibrations in the water. So they'll sit and wait for the food to come to them. And if a snake is swimming, or a fish is swimming by, it sends out vibrations in the water, hits their jaw, and they know how close it is, and they can snap and grab it. So they're not really sensing heat. Mostly just snakes, as far as I know. Unless my team of smart people know out there. I don't think lizards do. I don't know. I'm not 100% sure.
Steve says alligators are much more sensitive to touch
Yeah.
than anything else.
Yeah, the sense of touch is their thing. Yeah.
Are some snakes social?
There's certain times of the year, like during the winter time. In the wintertime around here, it gets too cold for them. So a lot of them will go underground, and they'll all go kind of, a lot of them, different species even, will go what we call, fancy science word, a hibernaculum. And so they'll go down underneath the ground, and they'll kind of hibernate under there together as a whole group. So that's really the only time they're really social. So very, very few. I don't think really any species are really that social.
Wendy actually
Might
says
be.
that garter snakes get together for breeding.
Oh, well, yeah.
Piles.
Yes, for breeding, yes. That's always been the good time.
Oh, yeah.
But any other time of the year. Yep. So breeding and hibernating. So snakes will get together. But other than that, that's pretty much it. So great. Thank you, Wendy. Yeah.
Olivia is wondering, do reptiles yawn?
Yeah. I've seen our snake. It's kind of fun to see a snake do it because they can, they've got unhinged, but they can actually drop their lower jaw. They have a specialized kind of jawbone in there. And so it's really kind of cool. So they can do it, and their bottom jaw can actually separate. So ours is solid right here. So if you feel your jaw, it's solid right there. Theirs actually has, of course it's falling apart, but they actually aren't fused together like ours. And so they can actually separate their bottom jaw, and they kind of use it like hands. They kind of walk through down the throat, which is kind of cool to see when they yawn. So yes, they do yawn. Any question?
Do tortoises hibernate?
Yeah, so box turtles around here in the wintertime will go underground and hibernate for the winter. And a lot of your pond turtles and that kind of stuff too. So yeah, depends on where they're from. So the Galapagos tortoise, which is near the equator, which means it's warm all year round, they don't have to, right? So if they're around temperate areas like ours where it gets cold in the wintertime, yeah, they will hibernate. Good questions, guys. Any more? We're good? All right. Well, thank you guys so much. Thanks for joining our Reptacular adventures. Join us next month. We're putting out a new set of programs for you. Miss Denise and Miss Sabrina are going to help out with me too. So they're going to come up and do their programs for you too. So you get to see some different faces next month. So come back and join us at 1 o'clock on Thursdays, and hopefully we'll see you next time. Bye, guys.